Welcome to Salaris Payroll. In this video, I'm going to give you a demonstration of the key features of the Salaris Payroll product. You can see I've logged into the application and I've landed on the main payroll screen, which displays all of my open payrolls. Now, just to give you a bit of background, during company onboarding into Salaris, we ask a couple of questions in terms of the frequency of your payrolls. So, for example, do you pay your employees weekly or every 2 weeks, perhaps monthly? And when you want to start using Salaris. Now, based on that information, we're able to work out all of your pay periods, their associated approval deadlines, and employee pay dates. So when a pay period is completed, so in this example here, you see it is weekly and it ran from October 5th to October 11th, the payroll will automatically appear in Salaris without the payroll administrator needing to do anything manually. So that happens as soon as this October 11th date is completed. Now, we do support multi-pay schedules as well, just FYI, if you do happen to pay some employees on different cadences. And so they would appear exactly the same as this one here does. Now, what you can see here is the payroll has opened and it is completely empty. And that is by design, because we want to empower companies to create their own processes and timelines for having their managers actually go in and approve time cards for that pay period. So any time cards within social schedules that need to get paid out during this payroll need to be in a status of approved in order to appear within the payroll. So I'm going to switch into social schedules for this period. So it was October 5th to October 11th. You'll see I have 3 time cards here for 3 employees. Now, as I just said before, the key thing is they must be in a status of approved in order for them to come over into Salaris. So just make sure you're asking your managers to approve these time cards before you're running payroll as a payroll administrator. So they just need to come in, review all of the details, make any manual changes if need be. Otherwise, change the status to approved. And there's a few ways this can be done as well. They can be done, individually, like I just showed. We can toggle them here to approved, and we can also do bulk changes as well. So once all of your time cards are changed to approved, you are good to run payroll. That is done by clicking the Import Payroll button. Now think of this button as being Generate Payroll, because once you click it, what it's going to do is it's going to go and grab all of those time cards from social schedules for this pay period. It's going to get the employee's name, the position they worked, their pay rates, when they started and ended, so the total hours they need to be paid, exclusive of breaks, unpaid breaks, and any compliance calculations as well that might apply. So, for example, if there was daily overtime or weekly overtime, or perhaps a penalty for missing their meal break, all of that data will automatically appear within Salaris. At the same time, if you have any salaried employees created within Salaris, we'll also work out how much they're due to be paid as well. So I have an example just below where I've clicked the Import Payroll button, and you can see there's now actually data appearing. Now that the data is here from the time cards, I can click Review Payroll. Now this is going to show me a breakdown of all of the employees and contractors, if necessary, for this pay run. So this pay run is weekly, still in the status of draft. I can actually click an employee to see the specifics of what they're being paid. So you can see here for Denise, she has some standard hours of 8 hours at $20, so $160. She also has a meal break penalty, so she obviously didn't take her lunch break working in California. That again is a compliance rule that you can set up within social schedules. Now, if for some reason there's something you need to pay them that is not actually coming through automatically from social schedules, just click on New Earning. So perhaps you want to give Denise a birthday gift. You want to pay her $50 because it's her birthday. Or perhaps there's some compliance rule that we actually don't cover within social schedules. Anything you need to apply, just find the relevant category and add it on to Denise. So you can do the same thing for all of your employees to review all of their details. Again, if there's any employees missing for some reason, you can add them here or add contractors. Although I will show you how to run an off-cycle payroll in a minute. Once you're happy with that, just click on Preview Payroll. Now, this gives you a full overview of the payroll. So you can see on the left-hand side here, the pay period, the payday, and the approval deadline, as well as your cash requirement. You can see a breakdown of the employees and their earnings. And then across these tabs, we have the different taxes, an hourly breakdown, so normal hours, overtime, double overtime, paid time off, etc. And then any deductions and benefits that will be paid. Now, once you're happy, all you've got to do is click that Submit Payroll button. Now, what will happen is that will move into a status of submitted. And you can actually go in and make changes if you've made a mistake or you've missed a time card or something. You can make changes up until the approval deadline that's shown here. Otherwise, the payroll is locked. It moves into a status of processing, and then we will go and debit your account for the appropriate amount for that payroll. And all things being well, all of your employees will be paid on the given pay date. So that's how a standard payroll is run. We also have the ability to create off-cycle payrolls as well by just simply clicking this button here. So a good example of an off-cycle payroll, perhaps you forgot to approve a time card in time for running payroll. Perhaps it is Christmas and you want to give all of your employees like a bonus. Perhaps it's commission that you need to pay outside of a regular pay cycle, or perhaps you're paying contractors because you've just received an invoice. So any reason you need to create an off-cycle, all you've got to do is give it a name. So I'm going to say Christmas bonuses. All off cycles still need a start date, end date, and a pay date. So even though this is February, let's just say I was really late in giving everyone their Christmas bonuses. Okay. And everyone's going to get paid next Wednesday. There's a few attributes here you can choose to select. Otherwise, just click the Create Payroll button. Now, this is exactly the same component you just saw when we were reviewing our scheduled payroll, but obviously it's empty because we don't know who needs to be in it. So again, just choose your employees or choose your contractors that you wish to, pay. You can see there's a bit of an error with that employee here, but otherwise it works exactly the same as the scheduled payrolls. You click the Preview Payroll button and submit. So that is how you run both your scheduled and off-cycle payrolls. So once a payroll is actually run and all of your employees have been paid, it moves into payroll history. So this gives me a full view of all of my payrolls, both off-cycle and scheduled payrolls. You can see basic information about all of them. I can also click this button and that will bring up that view payroll screen we just saw before. So I can see the full breakdown of taxes, of employees, of benefits, of deductions, everything related to that payroll. And I also have a number of reports that I can download into CSV, as well as the ability to download pay stubs. Now, this is available against your payrolls as well. So if you do need to provide like a printed copy of a pay stub to your employees, this is one way in which you can do it. Pay stubs are also available against the individual employee profiles, and we also allow for employees to self-service their pay stubs. So that can be done through the Social Schedules mobile app. Any employees that are connected to a company that uses Salaris will see an option called Payroll on the mobile app, and that's where they can download their pay stubs. They can view all of their tax documents, so like their end of year W-2s. They can also view things like their W-4s, and they can update all of their personal information that is relevant to taxation and payment. So yes, employees should be able to self-service most of the items. So speaking of employees, we do have full views of both employees and contractors within Salaris, split out between active and inactive. So as I said, we support both employees and contractors, 1099 contractors. We support active and inactive, and we support salaried and hourly workers as well. So if I click on one of these employees, you'll see I get a full breakdown of the employee's profile. So Adam here is paid a salary. You can see he likes to be paid by check. He works at a single workplace, but Salaris does support multiple workplaces. So if you do have, several locations, several restaurants, we do support that, and we do support employees working across those locations. We have his SSN. the start date, and you can see he has provided consent to receive his W-2 electronically. There is a wage tab here where you can see whether they're paid hourly or salary and how much their salary actually is, and you can change that at any time. If they are an hourly worker, their positions and pay rates are maintained within social schedules, but all of that data is synced into Salaris come payroll time. As I mentioned before, all of the pay stubs for an individual are available under their profile, so I can access these at any time. And same thing for tax documents. So you can see here that Adam filled out a federal W-4 and a California DE-4 as well for 2025. So I have full access to these, as does the employee on the mobile app. And deductions and benefits can be added or edited from this screen as well. There's also a few options under here as well. So if for some reason Adam's decided to leave us, there is a process to terminate the employee, and then the employee would move into the inactive tab. Contractors are set up very similarly to employees, obviously just slightly less information. There's no concept of benefits or deductions or wages, but we do have their pay statements, tax documents, and the basic information required for taxation purposes. Just moving on to taxation, we have two tabs here, documents and deposits. So I'll just speak about deposits. So what happens is with every payroll that is run, we will go and work out the various taxes, employee taxes that are required to be paid. So you can see here an example from the 9th of Feb, there's a California state tax, federal income tax, Medicare, quite a few others. You can see the amount that's been calculated as being expected to be paid. And what happens is when we actually take the money out of your bank account to pay the employees, we will also take this money out of your bank account and put it aside. So you can see funding status is funded, and we put it aside so that it's ready to be paid at the end of the quarter or the end of the period, whenever that taxation needs to be paid to the relevant authority. So once that tax has actually been paid here, California state tax, this deposit status will change to funded. And at all times, again, you can click on this icon and it will bring up the payroll that is applicable to that tax. You'll be able to see it here. Documents, in my example, this is empty, but again, we will display any documents that have been lodged on your behalf at the end of the period and tell you which jurisdiction it was filed to. Just moving on to reports as well, I showed you under payroll history, there were a number of reports you could actually run there specific to a payroll. They were payroll summary, payroll journal, and a cash requirements report. But we also have a number of other reports that you can run as well. Now, they're very simple to run. Just simply click run, click the period you wish it to be for. So I'm going to run this for January. Jan 31st. You might have a few options here. So for this one, I'm going to include contractors, and I'm going to include the employee ID. And all of these reports will simply download into a CSV file that you can then look at, send to your accountant, do whatever you like with. And just finally, moving into settings, we do have a few settings here. So if I click on general, this one is around tips. So you can store tips against time cards within social schedules. And this here says whether we should actually import those tips into Salaris and whether they should be paid via Salaris. And it's split by cash and credit. So for example, with cash tips, your servers and your other employees might actually take their cash tips home at the end of each shift. So therefore, you might not actually want to pay them via Salaris, but you do want to import them into Salaris. So they're actually reported on the employee's pay stub and they're reported to the IRS. But you have complete flexibility to turn these on and off as required. As I mentioned earlier, we do support multi-workplaces within Salaris. So the company I'm logged into only has a single workplace in California, but if you do have multiple, again, we do support that and we do support employees working across multiple workplaces. And just on leave, this is a really exciting feature that we are just about to launch, and it is actually the ability for companies to create their own leave policies within Salaris. So you can create paid time off and paid sick leave policies. You can set them up as either fixed or accrual policies. So a fixed policy might be that your employees get, say, 3 hours of leave every pay period, or it could be front loaded as well. So perhaps they get 40 hours at the start of the year. And an accrual policy is where they might get like 1 hour for every 30 hours that they work. So it's dependent on the amount of hours worked. So you can create those policies, you can assign employees to them, and then we will automatically calculate the balances of the employees for each pay period. And the great thing is it's completely integrated with social schedules. So when an employee actually creates a time off request within social schedules, they'll see their current balance. They can submit their time off request to their manager. When the manager reviews the time off request, they will also see the employee's request and their current balance to help them make an informed decision. And if that's approved, once the time off is actually taken, that will automatically flow into Salaris. So as well as the actual, times that the employee worked, you'll also see this time off request. And if it's a paid time off request, we will calculate how much they need to be paid as well. So great new feature coming in Q1 for Salaris. That reaches the conclusion of our Salaris demonstration today. I hope this has been really useful for you. And if you've got any further questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Thank you.